Okay, so I think those who are online by now, they should have joined if they will join. So we can proceed. Today we are going to start our studies by learning a new programming language. The new programming language we would learn is the programming language called JavaScript. We will learn JavaScript. We must ask ourselves, why do we require JavaScript as a programming language, and what are we going to use the JavaScript for? We are going to use the JavaScript to provide our applications with dynamism, okay, with interactivity. So the JavaScript to provide our applications with interactive activity. So this is how we are going to code or program and set up our applications inside our websites so that they can utilize JavaScript. Now, the question here is this: for every programming language, especially JavaScript and so on, we must first of all tackle a very important topic in it. And that topic is, what is a variable? A variable is a very, very important aspect of programming in any, pardon? Pardon? I didn't spell it well. Okay. No. Good. It's a very important topic in any programming language in which you would use or write or progress with. Understanding what the concept of a variable is a very, very important concept in programming. A variable is a space or a container that we keep data in. The data that we keep there can be referenced or referred to later. So we can refer to the data at any point in time in which we choose. Again, we must understand that the space is the variable. The space that the data would be containing is what we are calling the what? Variable, not the name of the variable. The name is not the variable. The variable is the space that whatever you want to be kept will be what? Kept. The name is the address to the what? Space. So whatever name I give my variable, it is pointing to the space that I have kept. Is that clear? Are we sure? So if I am to write something like, for example, number 1 is equal to 2. This wording here means that I have created a space, and that space has an address called number 1. And in that space, I'm putting there what? 2. That doesn't make sense. Are we sure? Complex things will come. So we must understand this very, 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 very much. You must not get confused. We are not doing maths. This does not mean that number 1 is equal to what? Number 2. No. It means that there is a space created. That space has been given an address of number 1. And in that space, I have put there what? 2. Now, for you to have a variable inside JavaScript, you need to tell the computer that this thing you are using is a variable. How will you tell the computer that this thing I am using is a variable? I would either use the word var or let or constant. So I would either use the word var. For example, I can say var number 1. Or I can say let number 1. Or I can say const number 1. Each of these will tell the computer that the variable in which you are creating in JavaScript has been what? Created. Unlike other programming languages, you do not need to specify a data type. JavaScript is a loose language. So the moment you bring var, at the point on which you are giving it a value, that data type will be assigned. What I mean is this. Over here, if I come and do is equal to map, it means that the computer is going to associate map with this variable here. But the type of data here is a string because it's in double quotes and they are alphabets. So a string is a combination of alphabets. So the computer at this point, at the point in which you are telling the computer to make this equal to this, will change it from a string to a what? I will assign the string to the space in which you are creating. Which means that if I go and do something like this, is equal to 1, the computer will now kick out the string and then input it a 1 there, and the 1 is an integer. So the computer will now recognize it as a what? Integer. Exactly. Are we sure? If you are taking a programming language like Java or C++, this will give you an error and a red flag immediately. Because in that language, you have to tell the computer what type of data you'll be putting inside that variable. But with JavaScript, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is just tell the computer that that thing is a variable, and that is all. Now, the question then comes in, when do I use var? When do I use let? And when do I use const? Var was what we used previously. But there is a problem with var. var does not respect locality. That is, if I use var under any or normal programming understanding, var should work within particular scope. What I mean is this. Whenever you bring these 2 curly brackets in the program, it means that whatever you put here should work within that environment. So the scope means this is the start of my environment. This is what? The end. So everything in the middle here starts and stops within that environment, logically. var doesn't respect that. So if you use var, it will work here. If you leave and come and write something outside, it will work there because with var, it understands that it is global. So it is everywhere. And that brings a red flag, especially if you are online. Because if you are online, you expect your code to run and then disappear. So for example, I'll take your credit card information, do what I have to do with it, and then that information should what? Disappear. It should only work within that environment. But with var, it means when it's done doing the things it has to do, that information is still safe. And if someone is smart enough, he can go and write the same variables and get that same information somewhere else. So in order for us to stop the scope being thrown everywhere and the confusion, the word let comes in. So let works within a particular scope and solves the problem of the var, whereby your variable will work everywhere, but let it only work within a particular block or scope. With const, it is the same as let, but once you make a variable const, it means that the value will not change during the entire lifespan of your program. It means the information there would be fixed. There would be no change. So if I make const is equal to 45, for example, it means that for the entire duration of my program, whenever I see number 1, it is supposed to be what? 45 for the rest of the program. Is that clear? Are we sure? Const means that the number there is going to retain its value for the duration of the program. The value will not change. There are scenarios whereby we would want the value to change. For example, when you open your email and you see welcome, Mark Mensah, or welcome, Tom. The welcome is fixed, but the Ama, Tom, or whatever, they change. That means for that one, I will use what? Let. Because that is going to change depending on who is using it. But there are times in which, for example, let's say the tax rate for bringing things in the port is set at 25%. That means that for the entire duration in which that program is going to run, it is going to be what? 25%. So I would make it a what? Constant. So that even if someone wants to do Bululu, he can't because it is fixed. It will never what? Change. Is that clear? Are we sure? So we now know what a variable is in JavaScript. We know that we can use let or const to put our information in JavaScript. JavaScript is an event-based language. JavaScript is an event-based language. Other programming languages in which are event-based languages are VB or Visual Basic. If you've ever coded VB before, you realize that you code based on what someone will do. So if you click a button, then you will do this. If you change a value here, then you will do this. If you go and press something here, then you will do that. So it means that under JavaScript, we are coding based on the events in which people will do. And once they do that event, certain actions have to be what? Performed. So because it's an event-based language, we are coding based on the actions in which a particular user is supposed to what? Do. In programming, there is a word for action. The word for action is a function or method. That means that anytime I perform an action, I am performing a function or a method. So it means that all our programming would be based on functions, so that whenever we call a function, the user can do a particular action. Let's see examples. So on our screen here, I have opened a new folder on my desktop called calculate. And then in there, I've opened an index.html file. Over here, in my index.html file, I am going to create a table. Are we okay? Don't worry, I'll give you time for that. Okay. And then in here, I'm going to create a table row. And in the table row, I'm going to create table data. And then here, I'll create another table data and another table what? Data. So 3 of them. I'll copy these 3 things here. and then replicate them over here so that I have 3 rows, okay, and 3 columns. And just so that my table border lines will show, I'll say border line is equal to what? 1 here. So that all the border lines of my table are going to show. In here, I'm going to type for the user to enter number 1. And over here, it will be enter number what? 2. Over here, I'll bring in a semicolon. And then over here, I would create an input tag of input space. The type of input is going to be number. And then the ID of the input is going to be number 1. But this one here is going to be number what? 2. And then over here, I would bring a placeholder which is equal to enter number 1. It would be enter number what? 2. Then at the back here, I'll bring a slash and close, and at the back here, I'll bring a what? Slash and what? Close. Over here, I'm going to put the button over here. So I'm going to say input type. Now, if I make it a submit, it means that it will conform to the rules of a form. Now, because I want to control it, I will not make it a submit. I'll make it to be a type what? Button, which means it's just a normal button. It has no properties to it. Do you understand? If I make it reset or submit, it means that now it has a specific job in which it's supposed to perform. If it is a button, it means I have to now give it its what? Its job. And that's what I want. And over here, I'll say the ID of the button is, let's say, calculate. Are we okay? Or let me say cal. And then the value of the button is get answer. Nicely. And then, of course, I have to bring my slash and what? Close. The code I've written here, what is it supposed to do for me? It is supposed to draw a table, show all the table lines. It will give me 3 rows. In the first row of the table, there would be number 1, number 2, and nothing. In the second rows of the table, there will be column and column. And in the last row of the table, there will be a place for someone to type a number, a place for someone to type a number, and then at the bottom, there will be a button there. You, the programmer, must have full control of your screen at all times. Anything you type here, you must know what is being typed at the other side. That is why whenever you hear students say, are we going to write the exam on a paper? It doesn't matter. We can write the exam on the floor. And if you know what code you are supposed to do, you know what effect you are supposed to have. Period. If I go onto my screen, so I go and click here, I go and click view, is it run? Let me see, click run about debugging. I want to run with Edge to open my program up in Edge for me. And when I bring it here, I should see exactly what I told you. Everything is there, this way I wanted it. Now, of course, if the lines for the table is there, it looks ugly. So logically, I don't want the lines of the table to show. Hence, my border is going to be what? Go away. This place, go away. That means that the border width would be 0 automatically. And if the border width is 0, I am presented with something that looks like what? This. Everything in order, everything well placed in line. Now, I am going to use this to calculate whenever someone enters 2 numbers. So if you enter something here, and you enter something here, and you go and click on get answer, it's supposed to tell you what the answer is going to be. And for us to do that, we need to use JavaScript because the HTML will give us the structure. The CSS will make it look beautiful. But what will do the interactivity would be the JavaScript. Exactly. I would give you guys some few minutes to type this thing into your computer, and then we will start writing the code for the JavaScript. So over here, let me reduce the font size here to, let's say, 25. Let's see what it does here. Does everything appear on the screen? Yes, okay, basically everything does. So here I can just bring it down here. From this, I can bring it down. And then we can have this. So I'll give you guys in here 3 minutes to type everything out. Are we okay? Those online, are we okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And as you can see, you saw how fast in which I did my own. You saw. No, A when he be when he down. The French girl didn't come today. Oh, I can scroll down now. Remember, you are not typing an essay. So when you open the bracket, you open a tag, then you what? Close it, type in, and then move on, okay? Again, when you're done, you test to see if you see the same things in your browser. Are we okay? You should be finishing up by now.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you did not begin yours with the normal HTML tag, or is it me that I'm not seeing it?
Yes, because I'm tired. and I know that I have taught you that already. So I know that for you, you do it, but me, I'm tired. So that's why I didn't do it.
I also want to find out if you can, run your code without the initial and then the closing HTML tag.
Oh yeah, you can. It's
you
not
can.
advisable, but you can.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Plus, I'm not putting this online. That's why I didn't do it. But you do it. You the student, you do it.
Okay, sir.
For you to write any code that would be of type JavaScript, you need to tell the computer you are writing JavaScript code. That means inside your code, you need to tell the computer by typing in the script tag. So you can see that if I type in the script tag, everything in which I type in over here is of type what? JavaScript. Are we okay? If you don't bring the script tag, it is not JavaScript, it is HTML. The moment the script tag counts, then it means everything there is what? JavaScript. The same way when we are doing the CSS, we type style and then put it in so that this code knows that that place is for what? CSS. So over here, I'm going to write my script code over there. Now, as I said, anything we do, we'll put it in a function. So how will I write a function in JavaScript? I'll just type what? Function. And then the name of my function. The name of my function is calculate. Don't worry, I'll let you type so you can watch, okay? Calculate. Or let me say, add numbers. I bring my parentheses and then I bring the body of my function. So over here, I have a function. It is ready to do what I command, or it is ready to perform specific steps or specific what? Action. Are we okay? Now, in here, I want to know if my function is working. Are we okay? So the first thing I'll do is I'll put an alert here. And an alert is a way for you to present a message or display a message on your page. So I want to alert the computer that I am in the function. Good. So once this function is called upon, it should alert I am in the what? Function. Is that okay? So how will this function be called upon? In the button, I will tell the button that on click, I want you to go and look for add words, numbers. And remember, the function, part of it is the parentheses. It is part of the name. So I can't just say add names. I have to add names and then the parameters. It comes with it. Are we okay? So on the click of the button, I am going to call upon this piece of code and it will work. Right? Are we okay? Let's see if it is true. So if I come here, I refresh my page. So my page is refreshed. I come here, I click get answer, and I get an alert on my page which says what? I am here, which means my function is what? Working. Can you see that? Let's try it on our pages and see if we get the same way. So remember, inside the input button, we type this code there. Are we okay? Note, if the type of your input is submit, it won't work because submit has its own rules. He has to what? Play back. Is that okay? Did it work?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Please, our typing skills has to improve. The way we type should improve. The A where he B where he typing the M cry. Baby speak up. Funny enough, I'm a very terrible typer. So if I type with one hand. But I'm better than some of you. in what we are doing, we now have to think of it in a logical way. And this is what makes the programming thing difficult. The logic. So over here, if I'm looking at the screen I have over here, when someone sees this, the first thing they will do is they will type something inside number 1. Then they'll come and type something inside number 2. Then they'll come and click on get answer. Then they would want to see the what? The answer. That is why we are saying that on the click of the button, go and do the function. Because the only time you would want to see the answer is on the click of the what? Button. Exactly. Good. Now, the moment the person clicks the button, there are some things we must do. What must we do? We must go for the information in the first box. There's information in the second box. Then we must add them together, then show them. Exactly. So over here, I must get the information from the input tags. The question is, how do I get the information from the input tags? The information is contained in the document that I am on. So I must tell the computer to go to the document. In the document, I want to tell it to go and get for me an element by what? ID. So the computer now has a question. What ID do you want me to go and get? I want you to go and get me the element that has what? Cow. So over here, I'll put in what? Cow. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't need cow. I need what? Number 1, right? Because the first input tag is number 1. So the computer would go and get, or go and look through the document. When it looks through the document, it will go and get an element, that is a tag, using the ID of the tag. And in this case, it will go and bring this entire thing back with it, everything in the input tag. Now, when the user types in here, he's typing inside the value attribute of the input tag. So I'm telling the computer again, don't go and bring me just the input tag. When you bring it, look for the value what? Property. So this piece of code here is going to bring to me what the person has what? Typed. And what the person has typed, I want you to put it into a variable I'm calling num1. Again, I will create a space for the information to be put in. What information do I need to put in to the num2? Whatever the user is typing here. But I will never know what the user will type there. So if my problem is what the user is going to type there, then I'm looking at it wrong. I have created a space for you to type something. Whatever you type there, I don't know. I don't care. But at the end of the day, when you click on this button, I know that you would have typed something in that space. So I'm telling the computer to go and bring me the container over here. And when it brings that container, it should bring with it what the person has typed, whatever it is. So how will the computer do that? The computer will have to search through the document and find what you're looking for. So the document here is a keyword that is of the DOM. So here I'm looking through the DOM. And in there, I want you to go the same way with CSS, we can target various elements. With this tool, we can target elements using the ID. And why the ID? Because the ID is a unique identifier. So uniquely, I know that if I write your ID there, I'm coming for you. So go and get me an element by what? ID. The question is, what element do you want the computer to go and get? I want you to go and get for me an element which has the ID of what? Number 2. That means that the computer at this state, if I leave it like this, is going to bring me the input what? Number 2. With everything with the input, meaning the name or the ID, and the placeholder, everything. I don't need all of that. All I need is the value property of what? That input. So it means that in this box here, I should have what the person typed in box 2. Let's see if it is true. So over here, I will do an alert, because as we can see, alert will allow us to see things on our page, right? And then in here, I'll put in number 1. And then I'll do another alert and then put in number what? 2. So when I come to my screen again, I will have to refresh. Over here, I'll put in 1, 2, 3, 4. Over here, I'll put in 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that okay? Now, when I click this, I'm supposed to see 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm supposed to see 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I click here, I'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I click OK again, I'll see 5, 6, 7, 8. Which means the data is being collected and put into my what? Variables. Now that I've collected the data, that I know the data is being collected, I should now add them up. So I can only add them up at this stage when I've collected the data and not before. So it is at this point I can say, let sum be equal to number 1 plus what? Number what? 2. Now that I have the answer, I must tell you what the answer is going to be. So over here, my answer is going to be alert into bracket what? Sum. So back to this one again. I must refresh. I come here. I type in 24. I type in 24 here. And I press this one. The answer is what? 244. 24, 24. Why is the answer here 24, 24? It is 24, 24 because the computer is seeing what I'm putting in here as a string. So technically, it is just taking what you've put here and joining to this one, giving you 24, 24. Remember, JavaScript is not a data type-based language. So it doesn't know that, oh, this thing you put here, I should see it as a number and then add it up. Or I should recognize it as this thing and then do it out. It doesn't know that. So it means you will have to tell the computer to change it into what? Numbers, and recognize it as numbers. So let us type this one in. Let us try it at our side. Then I'll show you how to change it into numbers and then we can proceed. Are we okay? So when you're done, try it and see if it works with you. Are we okay? Online, are we okay with the explanations? And are we trying it?
Yes, we are.
Just some key points whilst you are typing. Before I type JavaScript code, I need to type the script tag. Everything must be in the script tag at all times. Are we okay? If I want to create a function, I just have to type the function and then a name in which I want to call the function. There is no space there. Don't leave any space there. Then I'll type the sequence of code executed when the function is called. Yeah, question. Yeah. So I'm guessing by now we have finished typing and everything, right? So how do I make these things here recognize or be to be treated as they are what? Integers. I need to pass int. So there is a command that says pass int. So I'll type in pass and then int. So this keyword here is going to take the value over here and pass it as a what? Integer. Lovely. So I'll do the same for this side too. So pass it. The bracket ends at value. So I'm taking everything here and I'm passing it as a what? Integer. Are we okay? So once you do this, if you refresh your screen again, so over here, I'll go to run about debugging. And I'm here again. And I type in 24 and 24 here, and I press this, I should get my what? 48. Are we okay? Now, you see, there is a reason why I normally leave these errors in there, because whenever you're typing these things, I will not be there. So you should know why something is something. It is not just important for you to code it. You should know, okay, if I do this, what will happen? And if it doesn't happen like that, then why didn't it happen like that? So this is the why, because the value there is seen as a string. So you doing that, you are adding them up as one concatenation instead of you adding them up as numbers. So you have to make sure that the computer recognizes them as what? Integers or numbers. Are we okay? Now again, we can use int, we can use part what? Float, if it is decimal numbers. So that if the person is supposed to input decimal numbers, you use part float so that the decimals do not go away. Are we okay? But in our case, we are doing integers, so it is fine. Right? Now, all of us in this room here have used an application online before, and we have all seen this pop up, and we have all been annoyed with this pop up. It's very annoying. It's very, very annoying. It's very, very, very annoying. So, no, we don't want this pop up. So, we don't want to use alert to show the user the answer. We want to show the user the answer in a different way. Now, how will we show the user the answer? We are going to show the user the answer using a p tag. So over here, I've created a p tag, right? And in here, I'm going to give the p tag an ID called show answer. Are we okay? Now, the show answer, I'm going to give it an inline style of color red. Or let me use crimson red. It's more romantic. Then I'm going to tell the computer that go and look. So if I go to my screen and I refresh, I'm okay. There is nothing there because in the input, in the p tag, I've not put anything there. Of course, I can do this. Like I can say results will show here. So that when the user comes over here, he will see result to show here. So he's waiting for the result to show there. Well, I can leave it empty and the result will pop up there. It depends on. So over here, when I come back to this place, I need to tell the computer to go and pick this p tag. Are we okay? So again, I need to invoke the document. And then I need to, document. And I need to tell the computer, once it's booked the document, to get me an element via its what? ID. And the element I want it to go and get is what? Show as. Are we okay? And when it gets the show as, I want it to go and pick its inner HTML. Inner HTML. And what do I want it to put in this inner HTML? I want it to put in sum. So what will this piece of code do? Let's see. When I'm here, I refresh my screen. I click here. Let me make it bigger so that everybody can see. In here, I have 12. In here, I have 13. I click get answer, and the inner HTML would go and do its job. So for this p tag, everything here is this inner what? HTML. And I'm telling the computer that go for its inner HTML and replace it with what? Sum. Sum is what we have added together. So it means the content there will be replaced so that only the answer would be what? There. So that when someone starts the program fresh, they get this. And when they enter values over here and over here, and then they get some, then they get what? It's, oh, Charlie, that is show the answer for there for real. Hey, Charlie, that's down there. But it is clever placement and clever positioning. And as you can see, me knowing what the P tag will do, me knowing what whatever tag will do, will allow me to structure my work in a way which is visibly appealing to the user. Me making it red so that the person can know that, oh, this is the one. The answer was black to be difficult for the person to see. Clever placement, clever usage. Clever placement, clever usage. Are we okay? And as you can see now, you are starting to appreciate how we make the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript combine together. Let us do the corrections I did. So I'll bring this one down here so that you can type. And then the inner HTML is already there, so you can see it. So let's make these modifications to our code and try them. Those online, are we okay?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, okay.
Okay. there are times whereby you do not want to show the answer to the user, or you are working on how will I put this? A production-based application. So it means that software you have built is online, people are using it, but you are doing testing and you don't want them to see the testing you are doing. So if you do alerts, they will see. If you write a P tag and then show it on the screen, they will see. So another way to display is by you using console log. So instead of you going for the document like this, so I've commented it out, yeah? You can use console dot what? Log. Now, console dot log will allow you to log whatever you want to do on your screen. So the console.log, where you put in here, let's say, Sam. Are we okay? Can we see? Can we see? So here I've console logged it and put there what? Sam. Are we okay? Now, if I go to my screen again, the reason why I always refresh is because the JavaScript is not being loaded from a server. It's on your screen. So if you don't refresh, they don't dwell on your screen. For example, if I scroll down here, you see this one, I'm reloading it so you can see the console.log. But if I check the one on this page, there would be no console.log over here. So if I run it again here, I'm doing useless work. But if I refresh it and I check it here, you'd see the console.log over here. That's why every time I make a change in the JavaScript, I refresh the page. Now in here again, if I want to see the console log, I'll have to click on the console screen here. So there is a console screen. Any error you have with the JavaScript to appear here. So if something is not working, when you click the console, you will see the error there, totally written for you, showing you where the error is. So over here, if I type in my 12 and my 12, and I click get answer, you can see that the 24 is what? Here. If I click here, it tells me exactly where that thing is what? Coming from. For me to go there and then fix the error at that page. So I can console log it. Now with this, as you can see, some of you are in this room here, you have never gone to console log in your life. You don't even know it is there. So there is no way, if a software is in production, someone will go there and see you are making changes or no changes or anything. It is hidden from them. So in this short period, we have seen how we can display using alert, how we can display using inner HTML, now we can display using what? Console log. And it is the console log this is the reason why Chrome became so popular, because the console log allows people to just go there, do their testing there with Python or with Node.js or whatever. It's a very powerful tool, the console tool. Very, very powerful tool. To be honest with you, the inspect section here is a very, very powerful tool, because I can even go to network, and over here I can see if my application leaves my page, where it goes to, what it does over there. Are we clear? So for example, if I come here and I run Google, let's say Google Images, for example, and I come here and I go to inspect, I can go to network, and then let me clear this. So if I click on Google Images, it shoots me away from the page. But you can see that I left there, went to another page, left there, went here, came back, where it took me, how long it took me to go there and come back, all of those things. I will see all. Everything there.
Hello, sir. Is this like the reset command in the networking?
Yes, like that. It works in that vein. So yeah, everything be there. So those of you who will be going to X-rated site and you think that you have done all, we know you gone there. We know.
Now X is Twitter.
Eh?
X is now Twitter.
You see the bad way. I said X-rated. Rated. You didn't add the rated. We know. And as you can see, any resource you go and pick there. So for example, here you went and picked this resource. And as you can see also, we would slowly get there, but you would see that every command you go or every place you go, there is a status alert, which is 20, which is 200, which means that everything is okay and the server is what? Working. The moment it gives you a 405 or a 404, they know that life is hell, especially the system admin people. That is where they cry. Because the 404, just a problem. Because you as the backend developer, if you have a status of 200, then you have screwed up. At the moment you have a status of 404, 5, then you know that it is the system guy. Then you go and remove yourself from the thread. Then those are for later talk. But now we are here, and we are dwelling here. So as we can see, we can either show like that. Plus, let's remember that the fact that we are showing in console doesn't mean we can't show the other one too. Not necessarily, you don't have to do one and leave the other. So you can do this, whereby the answer is shown over here, and it is also shown in what? Console. Are we okay? Then you can use that to what? Check. Again, if I have an error in my code, for example, what do I do to get an error here, graph? What? Okay, let me remove this one. So I have this error, right? And I come over here to my page. I refresh my screen. Immediately, we can see here it's telling me I have a what? An error. If I type in 12 here and 12 here and I click, the answer is not showing. So to you on your screen, this is what you see. Say, oh, sir, I've typed the code and it's not working, sir. Your job is to right click and click on inspect, go to console and see what problem is going on there. If you click here, it should necessarily take you to where the what error is. And this is the error is with the on click. That means that once you get here, where it shoots you to, the error is what there. And as you can see, in my case, I didn't bring this section here. That's what the error is. So whenever something is not working on your screen, mostly console will give you an idea of why it is not working. Then you can read the error and then take it from there. Is that okay? Please, have you been able to type this? Is everybody okay? Okay. Who here does not know what BMI is? BMI.
BMI means body mass index.
Very good. So we all know what BMI is. Hallelujah. That means that we all know how to calculate BMI, which is what? The weight of a human being over his height times his what? Height. This will give you your BMI. And of course, the BMI is not just that. You have to tell the person if he's obese or obtuse or lightweight or whatever. So this is the body mass index. Your job from now to the Monday evening is to write a program to calculate body mass index. That's your job. From now to Monday, 10 o'clock. And JavaScript. That means whatever you design must look good. Let me explain what look good means. If it looks like this, it's not good. If it looks exactly like how my own looks like here, then it is not what? Good. It's not good. What? To me, it's not good. You understand? The same way beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So this one, the beholder don't really like. And the beholder here is me. So me, I don't really like. Eh? The moment I see colors, I see this movie, I see some names and things, I will like that one. I will like that one. But this one, I don't even know that I don't really like. How do you send it to you? Lovely question. All you have to do when you are done is zip it and send it to me on WhatsApp. So you would just take your folder. So for example, what we did today is over here. And then all you have to do is click on the folder name. So here, my desktop, so calculator, right click. Then you go and click on WinRAR archive. Oh, no, zip, compress to zip, WinRAR dialog. So compress to zip. Then you send me this file on what? WhatsApp. That's all. And if you think the question is hard, it is not, because you will just change this place to what? Wait, change this place to what? Height. The calculation you do over here, instead of you doing this one, then you change this one to over. Then here will be this one times what? Now you finish with that. That's all. But the beautification, no. Before me, look nice. That is what I'm looking for. And so that two people will not have the same work. If your work looks like your friend's work, I'll mark the two. Then I'll share the mark over the two. Hey, before be different. You don't know, back in the day, what you do the work, then you go and click on Control F. Then you see wherever is number one, you change it to number 4. Then you have done your own. Your power. The mistake you people have is that me, I can code. Oh. So everything you do, me, I've done it. I've done all. Sometimes instead of you to do that, and then here you give 2 space. Then here you give 2 space. Then you do all is different. We do all. So you, if your own is different, me, I would know. I would know. There's no, you see, you unfortunately for you, it's not like one of those teachers whereby you take it and say, oh, you have done it. Me, I then watch the goal. I will even run into. When you say it to me, I'll watch it. If you have done anything, me, I'll know. And if your code looks like your friend's code, I will know. That one, I will like now. But so to save us some time, I'll just, whatever mark your friend, when I'll divide, then you do share. So if you are 10, you will sure get that over to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. No problem. Accuracy. Then you to do your own. You see, one thing in which we have to start realizing is that programming is individualistic. That is, at the end of the day, it is you and the code. Even if you work in teams, there is a framework you're all supposed to work with. But everybody has their own coding style and the way they write it. So everyone's own would be different. As much as we think they will not, they are very different. And another thing too is teaching programming, you realize people find it difficult because they don't make their own mistakes. if you make your own mistake, like how this one like this, maybe here, like let me use you for example, unfortunately, like here, whereby the ID, you didn't type it in the P tag, you will not make that mistake again. Or if you see something like that, you know that this is the mistake. Do you understand? People find programming hard because those mistakes, they never get it. They only get it in the exam room. So they will not do it, practice exam room, then it hits you quick. Do you understand? But we are here to learn the thing. Exam is exam. Whatever happens in the exam, you pass or you fail. If you know or you don't know, it will happen. There's no running away from that. But for this one, try it yourself. It's better for you to try it and get 2 than you to copy and get 10 and not know. And God being so good, nowadays the programming is where the money is. Those people still doing HR and marketing, and I don't even know what they're coming to do in this one. It's a waste of time. No, they are doing this day, they are doing HR. You went to school to do politics. Now politics, even you sitting here crying, you don't pass the person and they do the degree. Everything is IT. Yeah, people doing marketing now they have to learn graphic design and all of those things are part of that. But everything is IT. And everything is programming. The programming itself is dying out. Because everybody is moving to data because they just need an application to collect the data and then analyze the data to get the results in which they want. And if you can analyze the data well, you can make a lot of positive difference. So let's get our hands on it. So, to be honest with you, I really don't care if you get it. If it's getting it, then there's no need for us to do this. It's more of you getting your hands on, you designing, and you seeing what your friend has designed to see what you are doing wrong. Because you will see someone's design and you say, you there you day class. You're the fast forward. Then you ask the person, how did you do this and this? And then your learning curve would be better than their friends' learning curve. The coding of the thing is not difficult, as I should. It's just about changing the values here. And then that one is that. How you are going to design it. And remember, we did some one CSS design, the plugin and stuff. So you can use that one. I really don't mind. But at the end of the day, it must portray health. It must portray me checking my BMI, because even if you take Ghana, for example, a lot of people don't know their BMI. Diabetes is on the rise. Hypertension is killing half of us. The people who are in public health, they even find it difficult calculating the BMI themselves. If they had an app, it would be easier for them. So do the BMI. Do it yourself. Don't go and let anyone do it for you. And if you have problems, then we solve, then we move on. It's just 3 months. After 3 months, if you want to stop programming, you can't. Not a big deal. But the programming money days are, oh yeah. No, I don't. I'm very broke. Very, very broke. Hey, I've asked a very sensible question. Those online, are we okay? Those online, are we okay? Can we close now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so please, just
sorry.
one day send it to me. And the reason I send it to me on WhatsApp is because if you don't send, I know you didn't send. If it is the mode, you say send network. But mode, WhatsApp, yeah, networking, yes, so once you are done with yours,
Yes, sir, but please, can you send us the video when we're done?
Oh yes, I will. I would send the same way we do. I'll send it immediately. The last week I thought I had sent it, but no, I had it. I'll send it the moment the class is done. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So those online, bye. And I'll put the code to in your group.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.